joined by Tammy Honaman of Fire Mountain Gems and Beads, and Tammy's going to show us how to make this incredible necklace using glass and dichroic beads.
You got it. I like to choose the dichroic beads first, so that I can then determine what my mix of seed beads would be.
The color is phenomenal in those beads. I love them.
I can't take the credit for that, but I do enjoy the process of actually picking the seed beads that then complement the dichroic beads.
Right. Okay,
and what I'd like to do first is to create this wire element. I cut about a 3.5 inch length of 20 gauge gold-filled wire.
Okay.
And then I just make a loop on the end.
Okay.
Just a simple loop. Just do a little round nose, around the round nose pliers. And then I turn the pliers again so that I have my wire coiling, kind of like a keychain.
Yeah.
And then once I get up to the top and I have my wire formed, I like to make that bend straight so that it's pointing straight up from the loop. And then that'll be coming into play later.
Yeah, okay.
Then I set those aside. Those are important to have on hand and just to get that part of the process
do that
done.
first.
And I have this wire hook, which is a twisted wire, which is what really makes the magic of this tool work. I just spin this tool and the seed beads follow up the curve of the wire.
Love that.
It's so wonderful. It makes it so much easier than picking up one bead at a time.
Absolutely. Especially when they're that small.
Oh yeah. And these are size 11, so that is, it really makes a big difference. I string 4 strands, 16 inches on each strand of just plain mix of seed beads.
Okay. And what do you string it on? What's your wire that you're using?
This is just a heavy beading wire.
Okay.
Thread, actually. It's not wire, it's thread.
It's thread?
It's just thread. Beading thread. I pass one of them through the 20 millimeter Swarovski crystal, and I pass it up through and into the one of the wire elements.
So now that's coming into play.
Now
you made those.
Now we have them, and now they're working for us. Just going to gather that up at the top, and I do a surgeon's knot.
Okay.
At the top to secure that thread. Once I've done that, I'll do that 4 times.
Okay.
So I gather all those first 4 strands into my wire element. I gather all my threads, and just as a precautionary measure, it's not necessary, but I like to do an overhand knot for all the threads so they're gathered and they're all in one place.
That's a good point.
And then I just trim the ends of the threads so that they're clean and out of the way.
Okay.
And then I just continue to string longer strands. These were the 16 inches.
Okay.
Then were doubled.
So that just went for that first section there.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now I'm stringing longer strands of thread, about 40 inches worth of beads. And this is where you'll string a section of seed beads and you'll stop and you'll add your dichroic and then string a few more.
Gotcha.
And then as you build and string it through your crystal going in the opposite direction, you'll do the same knotting measure at the wire element at the top. So you'll have your second one. What I feel is most important about this step is just that you're breaking up the dichroic beads so that they're not all in one spot.
Exactly. So they're a little bit more spaced out, which adds to the design.
Right, and you can see that here in this more completed version.
Oh, beautiful.
They're just kind of spaced here and there. And then to finish, again, I've gathered all of my threads and all of my knots. I've done an overhand knot in my threads. I trim the threads like so. I put on a beading cone, which will cover the ends of the thread. So you want to just make sure they get tucked into the cone.
That covers it beautifully.
It will.
There it did.
And then you just want to give it a nice pull.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to do a wrap loop. And once you begin the wrap loop, you make your first pass over your round nose plier. Make that first loop.
Okay.
And then I'm going to open it up.
Okay.
And pass on my clasp.
Gotcha.
Put on the clasp, link that on, and then finish your wrap loop so that it looks like that. That's the other half of my clasp.
Perfect.
Finished on the other half of the necklace.
Gorgeous.
And then you're finished.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And you also brought along with you a few other variations of the same technique.
Yep. These dichroic beads actually don't have the black underlying. They have more of a clear finish, so I went with more clear beads and more silver accents.
Perfect.
And then I did a orange and black combination, and then a purpley blue. And then I chose, for the glass, I used blue goldstone.
Yeah.
Which is not a gemstone, which is sometimes mistaken as a gemstone. It's actually, it's actually glass.
Yeah.
And then a cherry quartz. And then I just did a brown mix in a choker style.
That's gorgeous. I love that. And you know what? You made it seem so easy. 'Cause
Well,
it's like, wow.
yeah, it's multi-layer, but it's
Great.
not that complicated.
Thank you so much,
Oh,
Tammy.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Well, next up, we're off to the beach show.